Mr. Speaker. We've heard from my colleagues the reasons why the Representative Omar should be removed from this committee, but I feel like all the reasons have not just yet been stated, which is why I rise to add for the record. We've heard about the comments that were made regarding anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli views, but I rise to add to the record that as a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I've sat there and heard the representative actually spew anti-American rhetoric as well.
It is understandable why the author of this censure doesn't know what is up and what is down, because obviously someone who wants to talk about crime supports a former president currently running for president that is facing 91.
What happens when a heated political hearing turns into a nationwide controversy over loyalty, accountability, and constitutional duty? On the House floor, lawmakers debated whether a sitting representative should remain on a major committee. Supporters argued this was about holding officials accountable for past statements, while opponents claimed it was politically motivated targeting. The debate quickly escalated beyond policy, touching on national security, foreign policy views, and patriotism. The intensity of this exchange made it a moment of national attention.
Serves. Gentlelady from Michigan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And to use that logic, well, then all those people should have just said sorry and we'd move on, right? But no, we don't do that. And let me tell you, I take a little bit of offense to what the hell is wrong with me. I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with me. I took an oath to defend the Constitution, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Again, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm going to hold the Constitution, and it's very simple. We really shouldn't even have this debate. If you break the law and you follow due process, there are consequences to your actions, even if you say sorry. So we can try all of the diversion tactics that we would like. It doesn't change the fact that someone broke the law and that someone should be held accountable. It is disappointing, Mr. Speaker, that their own party can't hold them accountable, that they have such hypocrisy. So with that, I yield 2 minutes to my friend from New York, Nicole Meliatakis.
Gentlelady is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've heard from my colleagues the reasons why the Representative Omar should be removed from this committee, but I feel like all the reasons have not.
A central focus of the debate was the representative's past statements on Israel, U.S. foreign policy, and global conflicts. Critics argued some remarks crossed into anti-American or anti-Allied territory. Supporters countered that these were political criticisms, not acts of hostility. This reflects a long-standing question in democratic societies. Is criticizing government policy the same as opposing the country itself? Some lawmakers contended that equating U.S. actions with extremist groups was unacceptable for someone overseeing foreign affairs, while others argued that criticism of foreign policy is a normal part of democratic debate. What makes this situation particularly charged is the emotional and symbolic weight tied to terrorism, global conflicts, and national security. For voters, the debate often shifts from exact wording to whether they trust the speaker to support U.S. interests.
Stated, which is why I rise to add for the record. We've heard about the comments that were made regarding anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli views, but I rise to add to the record that as a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I've sat there and heard the representative actually spew anti-American rhetoric as well. I've been in that committee room where the representative equates Israel and the United States to Hamas and the Taliban. Absolutely unacceptable for a member of that committee. I've also heard the representative equate that it is the United States' fault that there is turmoil in Venezuela, that is not because of the oppressive socialist and communism that has spread throughout Central and South America, in Venezuela at the hands of the Maduro and Hugo Chavez regimes. That is unacceptable. And as a New York representative, to hear the representative belittle to try to diminish the worst terrorist attack on United States soil on September 11, 2001, as some people did something, that is unacceptable as well. And I hold the same standard for this side of the aisle that I do the other, because when another colleague on my side said something about 9/11, I also voted to have her removed from the Education Committee because I thought that was inappropriate. So I'm being consistent here, and I hope my colleagues will do the same to show that this is about consistency and accountability, because we should not have an individual with those views on the committee that is tasked with representing our country and our Congress to foreign nations. I yield back.
The gentlelady yields back.
Now 5 minutes to the gentlelady from Michigan, Lisa McClain.
I see a trend going here, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I think it's interesting that you have all the Republicans asking questions right now, so I appreciate this hearing, Mr. Chairman. Clearly, we care.
Another key issue was consistency and accountability across political parties. Some lawmakers argued that if one member faces consequences for controversial speech, similar standards must apply to everyone. Others countered that context matters, and not all statements are equal. This tension is common in political discipline debates, as parties often defend their members while criticizing opponents. In this exchange, one lawmaker cited their previous support for punishing a member of their own party, claiming this demonstrated consistency. The larger concern is how political institutions maintain credibility. If punishments seem selective, public trust declines. If punishments are perceived as too harsh, free speech is threatened. This debate illustrates how quickly disciplinary issues expand into broader questions of fairness, loyalty, and political survival.
And I know you do. I know we've talked about the numbers, but I think it bears repeating. The federal government spent over $66 billion on illegal immigrants in 2023, according to the Federation for American Immigration. Does anyone here want to guess how much we've spent on homeless veterans in 23? Guess? High? Well, let's just start. Higher, lower, the same? Anybody want to guess?
Fractional.
Fractional. Thank you. 3 billion. 66 on illegals, 3 billion on people who have laid down their lives for this country. Can anyone explain up there why that makes sense?
Well, one is including all sorts of benefits, and one is just looking at a very, very narrow slice.
No, I'm using the same
So if you
numbers.
look at-
Sir, you are. I am using apples
It would
to
be a
apples.
very different.
I'm using apples to
calculation.
apples. So since you know, why don't you share with me?
We don't
Oh,
track
you
U.S.
don't know.
We don't check.
You don't
track
know.
U.S.
Okay.
veterans in the census, so that would be very helpful if we did. Then I would be
No,
able to
we
give
did.
you a
But
very.
do you know
good-
the answer? Because
good-
I do. I do. So I appreciate your opinion of which you have no facts on. But let me continue and let me educate you some more. The federal government, breaking that $66 billion down, let's look at what we fund. So you might want to get a pencil and paper and take some notes because I'll help you do your job. $5.8 billion in SNAP, $10 billion in Medicare, $8.2 billion in uncompensated hospital expenditures, $3 billion for primary and secondary education for illegal immigrants, And how many illegal immigrants are given taxpayer-funded housing compared to the number of homeless veterans that are sleeping on the street? You don't know because you don't want to know. You don't want to see the numbers. Well, I do, and I can share with you the American people do. Because I'll share with you, the people in my district, in Michigan, of the 9th District, we care about our homeless veterans. We care about our veterans. And yes, we care about them a little bit more than we care about people who have broken the law to get here illegally. So
The discussion then shifted to national spending priorities, particularly comparing immigration spending with veteran support. One claim suggested that federal spending on undocumented immigrants far exceeded spending on homeless veterans. Such comparisons resonate politically because they appeal to emotional priorities, helping citizens who served in the military versus non-citizens living in the country. Analysts often dispute these comparisons, noting that different spending categories are measured differently. Some include healthcare, education, and emergency services, while veteran spending may be spread across multiple agencies. At its core, the debate raises a broader question. Should governments prioritize citizens first or balance humanitarian responsibilities with domestic needs? This question is a central point of political contention in the U.S. and many other countries.
We have some suggestions and maybe some answers on how to fix it. Instead of $66 billion, here are a couple things we could spend. The White House has requested $13 million for the National Call Center for homeless veterans. I'm going to say it again. $13 million with an M, right? Maybe we could find that out of that $66 billion, right? Different between million and billion, big difference. We could funnel some more of that $66 billion to our homeless veterans. Anyone opposed to that? Why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we doing it? Anybody got an idea? Anybody got an idea? Why we're not, God bless you, why we're not doing it? I'll tell you why we're not doing it, because the Biden administration does not want to do it. Am I correct? Am I incorrect on that? I didn't think so. This year's budget request from the White House asks for $17.2 billion in mental health spending for veterans. That $10 billion we lose to Medicare spending would surely benefit to struggle with the mental health issues. So why don't we do this? America's a very charitable country. Why don't we take care of our own first? Anyone see a problem with that? Why don't we? I'll tell you why we don't. Because the Biden administration doesn't want to do that. It's maddening to me. The White House budget requested for caregiver support programs not $2.9 billion. Maybe instead of $3 billion for educating illegal immigrants, we can give more funding to caregiver support programs, right? We're all talking about both sides of the aisle, which ironically doesn't even want to participate in this hearing, sadly, but not unexpected. We all talk about caregiving is a problem, right? I hear that on both sides of the aisle. What would happen if we took that $3 billion and gave it to caregivers that live in the United States? Anyone have a problem with that? Why don't we do it? Anybody? The Biden administration doesn't want to do it. And you play games with your facts. And you play this shell game. Well, I'm going to share with you, the American people are not fooled, and they are frustrated and fed up with it. Let's just be honest about where this money is going so we possibly can redirect it to the correct place. Let's start with our veterans.
Another argument addressed budget allocation choices. Some lawmakers proposed that redirecting portions of immigration-related spending could significantly boost funding for veteran mental health programs, housing, and caregiver support. Budget debates like this often simplify complex financial systems into direct trade-offs. In reality, government budgets are divided into legally restricted categories. Still, these arguments resonate with voters because they frame spending in moral terms. Who deserves help first? Veteran support typically garners bipartisan backing, while immigration spending remains politically divisive. Comparing these topics directly makes the discussion highly emotional and politically charged. This portion of the hearing demonstrates how budget debates often reflect national values and political messaging more than simple accounting.